hell? Is that a new thing? That's got to be a new thing.
New computer.
You want to talk about the Purge? That's all Purge.
I welcome my new overlords. New computer. Apparently, that setting's still on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this meeting is being recorded,
right? Apparently, I couldn't sneak that one in there. Wasn't fooling anybody. Oh, so who kept track of how many billionaires went to space this week?
Was it Wayne or Stark at this point?
Well, Bruce already has a whole bunch of friends at the space station up there.
Come on, Bruce.
Okay.
So he beat everybody.
Look, I can't keep track of my rich white men. You gotta be more distinctive.
I'll try, but they're all very, very similar.
Yeah.
What's going on, folks? Welcome. I'm sorry,
Energy
to the mic.
Energy
to the Garbled podcast. So if you were like listening to that, I apologize now. Especially if you had headphones in.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. No, we won't.
Will we?
No, we won't.
No, we won't. Welcome to the Garbled podcast. We have been gone for quite some time, and I want to apologize for that.
I'm not apologizing for nothing.
There you go. There you go. It's called life.
Yeah.
Yeah, life.
You get good content. You be all right.
Yeah. Check out our Instagram posts for further details on that. But all right. Anyways,
what are we talking about today, Ramon?
We are fucking back. What's it feel like to be back?
Feels like it's been too long, but probably could have used it. It. Recharge a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
fresh ideas and whatnot.
Yeah. Let some new content create itself in our world. I mean, you know, who saw billionaires fleeing the planet in 1 week? I mean,
so on my 2021 bingo card, that was not listed.
Wasn't?
No, I had Harambe coming back. That was my prediction. Okay. I don't think we're gonna get that one.
The second coming of Harambe.
Harambe 2. His son. Anyways, well, I thought we would do an exploring fandoms and look at the fandom behind the Purge. Mostly because a new Purge movie came out, the Forever Purge, about 2 weeks ago, and or 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And we also have this really strong sentiment of eat the rich, as you put it, Nick.
It's coming back around.
Yeah, like people are just fed up with rich people all of a sudden. And
I think the French have something to say about that.
Right?
Let me call them up. Give me 1 second.
Let Them Eat Cake was their flashpoint. Ours was I'd like to thank all the Amazon employees for making this possible.
The ones that are alive, the ones that are dead were useless.
Is that
that wasn't the flashpoint, but it's
no.
It's the most recent.
Is that like him saying, "Oh, you know, I want to thank every"? Was it like a legitimate thank you, or was it like how everybody else interpreted it?
Legitimate thank you would be allowing them to like go to the restroom and not have to pee in water bottles. That is a legitimate thank you. Legitimate.
Not only thank you, but empathetic gesture would be to not, and it's bumping into my news story, but not to take two people that were near him on a stage and give them each $100 million.
While his employees can barely afford to go to the doctor.
While he's in a position to, over the next 5 years, personally end world hunger.
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost like I stabbed you and then thanked you for getting out of the way.
Thank you for moistening my knife.
I needed that.
It was getting a little dull. No, it's It's when he says thank you to, he said to his employees and to his customers, and everyone collectively in the world went, oh, I could go for a bite right now. Actually, I didn't realize.
So yeah, we're back to this whole idea of eat the rich.
Yep.
Which is a sentiment that's been going strong for a bit of time. We'll get more into it as we get into this idea of the purge, what that would mean, what that would look like, what is it even realistic, which spoiler alert, I don't think it's fucking realistic at all, but
oh good, we get to have a counterpoint.
Can I just point
there's
out
gonna be some fucking arguing today, folks.
Can I just point out how ironic it is that the eat the rich people are not the ones that stormed the Capitol?
No.
I just want to point that out.
Which plays into my point later, but I'll get to it.
Okay. All right.
We gotta ease into this. See, I'm just gonna go and like just throw all my points out right now, and then we have like an hour to kill. It's not gonna end well. It only happens sometimes.
It'll just end in a purge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll purge each other digitally. I'll punch my computer and Nick will throw his mic and
the call and the big voice. The call is now ended.
One thing I do miss about old style phones is being able to slam the fucking phone.
Yes.
Or snap it shut.
Yes.
I will talk to you later.
Exactly, because there's no way in the world that I'm gonna.
Okay, Google, hang up emphatically.
That's low key. That's why women keep our nails long. So when we text, it has more emphasis. You guys can't hear it, but we can feel it.
Okay.
Okay.
Why didn't you take the chicken out?
Back in my day, I definitely fucked up a couple of public phones.
Yeah. Sure.
Just went off. But anyway, let's get to news.
News.
News. All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go first since we already started talking about it.
Go ahead, go for it.
So in the space of a week, if anyone hadn't heard, 2 billionaires went to space, and here's my first problem. No, they didn't.
Dang.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. You're making my point for me.
Yeah, no, they didn't. No, you didn't.
They just took away his accomplishment. That's crazy.
They didn't go into space.
No, they went to, and you'll have to help me with the
upper stratosphere.
Yeah, upper stratosphere. Thank you. Thought there was a flashier term. Yeah, right.
We trash. You couldn't even make it to space.
Yeah, didn't even want to go to space.
They went to the edge of the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. And so they took a really like tall flight and came on back. And the funny part was they were racing each other. Branson beat him by 2 days.
Branson just sounds like someone that would get pushed in a locker if he didn't have money.
Yep. And that's why he has money now. I'll show you. No.
With my trust fund.
Call me a virgin one more time. You know what? I'm going to show you.
I'm going to buy your family. Like
Virgin
my
Atlantic, Virgin
did.
Mobile, Virgin Virgin Space, or whatever he calls it. Galactic.
Ew.
Yeah. So so Branson got there first. And then Amazon.
Bezos.
Yeah, penis fetish. Bezos.
That spaceship was quite phallic.
He does.
Well, so's the Amazon signal. That was the joke and why.
Oh, I thought you were talking about him.
Also him. Yes. No. He not only models himself after a penis. He every company and every bit of branding he has is phallic. He does that on purpose. I mean, the Amazon smile. You ever look at it?
No, I have not looked at it. What does it look like to you?
It's a penis, and that's what he.
Oh, we always thought that it was an arrow.
Yeah, it's like a smile and like an arrow and like a it's a
penis.
Yeah.
And a penis.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at it on my phone.
Yes.
So are you saying that Jeff Bezos is just a really progressed version of that one kid in class that draws dicks on all the textbooks?
I think based on what was made public from his divorce, I think it's more he was the kid that like made weird art by folding his sack and showing people.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's that kid.
Well, wait a minute. If that's the case, and this thing looks like a penis, then it had a Hitler stash a couple of months ago because they just recently changed the symbol.
Probably.
Because it's supposed to be like a smiling box.
It's supposed to be a smile, but the little like dimple in the end.
I feel like I'm in an episode of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, and the funny part is his penis fetish is not even my news story. No, but no, basically these two guys both went to space. I'm air quoting for the camera.
Thank you.
They went to the edge of space, came back, not only said we went to space, which is a lie. They also said it was one small step for. They both stole the line. Well,
it's an iconic line.
It is an iconic line. No, it isn't. Did you see the one dude that's like he's like from JPL? I think he was from JPL. He's like a doctor from JPL, and they brought him on, and to lead up to bringing him in, they talked about how Bezos was, you know, they showed the clip of him giving that line and talking about his accomplishment, right? Like it was him. And then they go, and now here's so-and-so from JPL. What do you think about this accomplishment? And he goes, and then loses his mind. And sorry, he loses his absolute mind and says, in 1969, we actually went somewhere. We took 3 human beings and we tried to put them on a moving stellar object, and you took a flight, and how dare you? And like I think that was the iconic, you know, and he just starts going off, and eventually the anchor that was doing the interview, she just goes just gives up.
To you, Chet.
Loses it.
She just gives up because he was just ripping this guy a new one, because it's all marketing. It's all pushing the brand as look what I can do. I'm better, and it helps no one. Then the thing that killed me was Bezos comes off of the space flight, goes to his press conference, his post-flight space conference, and says, yeah, you know, thanks to everybody who helped me achieve my dreams. Here, I'm going to help these 2 people here on either side of me. One of them is a CNN reporter. And anyway, he looks to his left. He says, here's $100 million. And he looks to his right and he says, here's $100 million, and hands away $200 million to 2 individuals. And the man could single-handedly end world hunger if he wanted to, because Amazon ain't going away anytime soon. And nope, that's not how I'm going to help humanity at all. Meanwhile, his ex-wife has so far, since their divorce, which is fairly recent, although she's remarried now, which I didn't know, it has given away $4 billion so far. And
just because,
to charities, like to actual organizations that can use the money. And and she's going to wind up giving it pretty much all the way. I mean, pretty much. She'll
she
be comfortable.
70 billion.
Yeah, she's
the second
something like that.
richest woman in the world, or at least in America, right?
Or something. Yeah. Some very high. Yeah,
Simply,
she has it to
simply
lose
by divorcing him.
Yeah, she has it to lose.
As he was giving away that money, if I was the camera person filming, I would have gone feral right then. Like, you would have just seen the camera drop, and it would have looked like something out of American Horror Story,
or
like,
The Purge.
Feral.
So anyway, that's my news story. The guy with the penis fetish was being a dick. There you go.
Okay, and we'll dive a little deeper into it because
it's going to come up during.
It's going to come up in the topic. Yeah. Bria, what about you?
So
our resident social media.
Hey. So as a little palate cleanser, I'll bring you some Black Girl Magic.
Oh boy.
Our girl Issa Rae got married. Yay!
Okay.
Right.
She kept her fiance under wraps, but they've been together for very many years.
Oh, okay.
And they just got married over the weekend, which, I mean, sad face, I wasn't at the wedding, so that's kind of trashy stuff.
Happens.
Thought we were better than that. But on the good news, she's just out here living and thriving and creating great content for the world to see. She's giving back to a whole bunch of creatives by producing all of their shows. She has a whole, I'll put a link somewhere where this is available.
Okay.
Where creators of color can submit their plays and screenwrites and stuff to her, and she helps produce them, which is awesome. And now she gets to produce her own happy ending. Ooh, you like how I tied that together?
I do like it. I do like it.
Yeah. So Issa Rae got married, and that's more important than Jeff Bozo going.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Well, they didn't go to space.
Right.
Well, wherever they went.
Going up in the air.
Yeah, going really tall.
high. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the idea of, like, I think the thing that really offends the fuck out of people with that whole thing is the idea that you have these two ridiculously rich people and space is going to become this thing that only the rich can do. But that's the way it's always been.
But I'm okay with that. You want to know why? Because the more of them that we get to fuck off to space and they just stay there, the less they will be here.
Yeah.
Just fuck off. Just go. Bye. Goodbye.
Yeah, see, they're gonna profiteer off of what's out there if they're the first ones there. Like when you hear like Elon Musk, who also just didn't do anything this week, so that's why my ire isn't pointed at him. I'm so out on him at this point. It's gross.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
he's probably just putting like racing stripes on the side of his space plane. He's like, I'll be the first one in there with 3 dicks instead of 2.
But no, he said before, we, and is correct when he says, and he's not the first one to say it, is we do need to be multiplanetary in case an asteroid hits one. Like, we all know that. But then to lead the charge and go out there, that's who's going to control it. And it's like, can we control something? No. Okay.
No, I'm cool with the asteroid hitting us. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not even gonna fight it. I just
asteroid hits.
Fuck off.
Hits. Do you want to be one of the survivors, or do you want to just die immediately as the asteroid
Kill
hits?
me an impact, baby. Right then. In fact, I've been eating too much fried chicken as it is. I have high blood pressure. If you tell me that the asteroid's coming, I might just keel over right there. Like, oh no. And that be it.
Oh no, that's just the movie Deep Impact. I thought that was the news. My bad for you.
Aw, damn it.
Okay. Well, Nick brought us our political geo news, entertainment from Bria.
Hey.
I think I'm gonna tie up the pop culture. Marvel continues its fucking reign of supremacy over DC. It's pumped out the new Loki series, which just came to an end about a week, 2 weeks ago, maybe. What If is coming out later this August. I think it's like mid-August. Black Widow was rather the top grossing movie during the pandemic. Is there anything that the House of Mouse can't do right besides Star Wars
and a lot of their history?
Yeah, I'm okay. And racism and sexism.
And labor
be nice
abuse.
to the Jewish folk. I don't know. They're making up for it. They're like, you know what? We get it.
Yeah.
No, I just and meanwhile DC is nowhere to be seen.
They're still trying to figure it out. Those poor guys. Don't worry, those kids will get back on the horse. They'll figure it out.
They'll give it the old college try.
They won't. They won't. Didn't they just like, or maybe it's not just, but basically cancel the Cyborg spinoff?
Yeah.
Cyborg was supposed to get a spinoff?
Yeah, that was the only reason that actor signed on. to
Great
do
for that.
I was
Justice
gonna
League
watch that.
was because he in his contract he was promised a Cyborg spinoff, and then that got shelved.
Where was he going to spin off to?
His own story.
Yeah, but what own story?
How he's
Didn't
really
they tell his
cybertron.
story in the?
They touched on it. Yeah. Well, the Snyder Cut gave him way more than the original. So in the original, he was just like, "I'm a cyborg."
I'm here and I'm black.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to it.
Transform.
All right, let's get into this topic. The idea of a purge.
All right.
Do I need to like spell it out?
Well,
For
do you
those
want
that
to
are
give us?
unfamiliar,
Do you want to give us a quick? Because I do know enough about the series to know that they did the concept.
Mhm.
Then they kind of went back to how it began. Then they kind of flash forwarded to an election cycle one, and where it
End
was
of it.
possible they could have ended it. Yeah. And then now this one is, what was it? What's the new
The
one?
Forever Purge.
Forever Purge, which sounds like world annihilation.
so if you
Essentially.
have not seen any of them,
No.
don't watch this episode yet. Watch the movies.
Don't listen to
and
this
come back.
episode. Don't. Yeah, the spoilers. We're going to be ruining the Purge series, and because Bree, you saw the series too, right?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to finish it?
I think I had like the last episode, but I think I watched like the last episode of the last season.
Okay.
Yeah, I know enough.
All right.
I'm
so-
well versed.
Yeah, like we between the two of us, we've seen all the movies and the series that came out on FX. It was 2 seasons long, which was in some ways I think it was better than the movies.
Hmm.
All right, but let me give you the basic idea. There's one night a year for 12 hours where crime is completely legal.
All
And
crimes.
All crime is legal, including murder. And and it's interesting that they latch on to the idea of murder because that plays a huge part in these movies.
Mhm.
All crime is legal, 12 hours. It's from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. There's a siren that goes off to announce the beginning of the purge, and a siren that goes off to announce the end of the purge, at which point all crime becomes illegal again.
Mhm. All crimes are crimes.
Yeah. But the most interesting aspect about it, I think, is that by doing this, it somehow reduces crime to less than 1% in the United States.
Yeah.
And this is only legal in the United States. The United States is the only country. There are other countries that are whispering about doing it or giving it a try. But it basically pulled the U.S. out of a depression in the series
Mhm.
or in the movies. The U.S. was getting ready to go into this major depression. It pulled out and was able to reestablish itself as a world power because of this act.
Because of a culling event.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
if you
that's
think
interesting.
about it, well, I guess we'll get into why later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the basic idea. All crime is legal, including murder.
Right.
Use weapons of class 4, which they never really bothered to explain what the hell class 4 weapons are.
Can't use a
Figured
nuke.
out it's yeah, no nukes, no words. My words are escaping me. Military issued.
Military
Instruments.
grade weapons are no.
Well, which makes sense because if for whatever reason someone took the purge too far and you had to call in the military, you wouldn't want civilians with tanks.
Yeah.
Also,
the other what?
the idea of it being a little bit fair,
Yeah.
like you might be able to defend yourself.
Also, you have to add in the fact that the only people that are exempt from purge are doctors that are in hospitals. Hospitals are off limits, and
I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
politicians
Right.
Politicians of
of a certain level.
a certain level,
Can't kill the president.
No
Yeah.
presidents, no governors, no senators.
which is what the election year movie deals with, is that they finally for that one they open it up to everyone. Anybody is able to be killed.
Oh wow.
Because they are trying to kill off one of the not incumbents, one of the
challengers.
One
Yeah.
of the challengers.
Trying to get rid of the political rivals. And that I believe is a common theme throughout the entire thing is this is the rich, the powerful manipulating everything.
Taking advantage, yes.
Yeah, taking advantage of the populace for their own gains and under the guise of doing the right thing, which is a commentary that we hear a lot in regular life. So
yes, especially if you watch the first one. I feel like, okay, so the very first Purge movie that came out, right? That one just kind of deals with what the Purge is. The one that gives you the background story is a lot more politically intriguing to me, because that gives you the real what's going on behind the green curtain.
Right.
Yeah.
Good Loki reference.
Oh! Which was also an Alice in Wonderland. Not Alice in Wonderland.
Wizard of
Oz. Wizard of Oz.
But that's
that was that
whole
another
thing.
day. Yeah. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah, it's the concept of this stuff is very interesting to me. I do, by the way, think it is metaphor, but if you wanted to look at how they did it, it's not that far off from how people maintain power now. You know, and not to make a direct correlation to the Republican Party, but it's right there.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that they kind of stress in the movies, and it's interesting to me that the Purge election year came out right as Donald Trump was gaining political momentum and political power in this country, and he even talked about it in one of his speeches. But the political party in the movies and in this universe that we're exploring, they're called the New Founding Fathers of America.
Which is hilarious, because didn't the Founding Fathers kind of purge the Native Americans from their land?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
But you can continue. You can continue.
Yeah.
Well, okay, hold on. I feel like I have to like point something out, because like,
are you about to defend the Founding Fathers?
I'm not defending. I think it's interesting though. There's only one group of people worldwide that has not. So basically, in order for one group to come into power, they have to get rid of the group that's there before them, right? You have to get rid of them,
overpower them. You don't necessarily have to get rid of them.
Get rid of them, overpower them, assimilate, all of the above, right? The only place that hasn't happened in the world is, does anybody know?
Say it. I think I know where you're going, but
Scandinavia. The Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, Greenland, these were all places where when the explorers went there was no one already there.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
So they didn't have to kill off anybody. They didn't have to assimilate anybody. They didn't have to. And that's a very common trope that we see everywhere else in the world. Do you get what I'm like? Does anybody get the bigger point that I'm going for?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like you can't take over an area power-wise without eliminating the power that existed prior. And because it's only been, in these few places where that hasn't happened, that's how it plays out. So I'm not defending anybody. I'm just saying that that's kind of human nature.
Well, sadly, and this all what I'm about to say could be debunked in like 10 years with more study, but and correct me if it's already been debunked, but what I've always heard was part of the reason that we're the only ones left is because in the time of Middle Earth, when there were like 3 different fairly intelligent, upright, standing peoples in the world,
humanoids, other subspecies of humans,
right? That anytime we wandered in to a new area, that was everything was extincted like in that area, just used up, and then they would move on. And so yeah, it's ingrained in us, sadly. But yeah, I don't see how it could even be defensible, because that's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice at this point. I mean, you go in, you find a new land. If you're looking at the like Native Americans, I'll just use that one as an example. They're not isolated, but it's the one that pops to mind because I'm an American. Go figure. If you come in and recognize the sovereignty of their, that tribe's area, and then realize and map everybody else's area and recognize the sovereignty of those, nations, then you establish trade and you do what you can there, but you harmonize with what's already there. No, They conquered it.
Yeah.
They conquered it. And they didn't have to do that. They wanted to do that and they did it. And that's it's a choice.
Yeah, but there's also the idea that you establish some type of equilibrium with your environment.
Yeah, there's I don't want to go there. It's very hard to establish a true melting pot when you're looking down the barrel of a gun.
Yeah.
It's very hard to be like, no, come in. It's fine. Just do like some of the things we do, and we'll learn some of the things you do. It'll be equal. No, it doesn't happen like that if there's violence from the outset.
So were those people really hospitable, or were they just terrified for their lives?
Yeah. And that's what it is. And
and it's also that history is always told from the winner's perspective.
Yeah.
Which in the Purge, we find out that everything is told from the winner's side. Once we do the flashback, and we find out that this experiment that was started in New York, Ramon?
Yeah, it was started in Staten Island. Shout outs to the mayor.
Yeah, Dan. So they started this around your way. And you find out that they were actually encouraging people of impoverished backgrounds to purge by giving them financial compensation for purging.
Yep.
And that's why they started purging.
The idea of control. Exactly. That's what it boils down to, is population control.
Yeah.
Because the people who are targeted every year, or who can't afford to, I think it's very interesting that this movie series started off with like a rich family in the burbs, and then it moved into like the inner city. So we got like this sweeping shot of what it could be like to partake in this whole experiment, if you will, this idea of the purge.
Yeah. What is your strategy, since we're skirting that?
What do you mean?
What's your go-to? Are you a fortifier? Do you fortify the homestead and stay in? Do you run the streets?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Like,
you take vacation and go to a country where it isn't a thing.
You get the fuck out of the country. That's because here's the reality of the situation. Everybody and their mom thinks that, if the purge were real, I could survive and I could just, just run around killing people. No, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
I've already said I have high blood pressure. I'm running 3 blocks and passing out.
The average American can't run 3 blocks.
Which we found out during the riot at the Capitol.
Yeah, you had people that were, during the riot of the Capitol, you had people that were falling off the wall because scaling a 16-foot wall was too much of a workout for them.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Nick, I am either A, leaving a month ahead of time because you know that the
it's purge month.
Gouged.
Yeah.
Or I'm fortifying a bunker and committing cyber crimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
hacking rich people's bank accounts.
And having not seen the movies, was that what the wealthy were doing? Because I assume that's what they were just out
hiding. They were hiding, or some people were participating in household purges, where they were actually, and this goes into the economic side. So one of the reasons why the purge is so quote unquote so successful is that it opened up a new business. people are buying other people. So there are
The Purge.
there are like cowboys, for lack of a better word. They go out, they grab up all of your homeless, all of your defenseless women, all of your children that are left out. They're bringing them to rich people's houses. They're paying top dollar, and then they get to purge them in the comfort of their own home.
The one
It's sick, right?
the one
Because
thing
you
that I
can see
thought
that
was-
happening.
Oh yeah. Because ultimately, what it boils down to, and Nick touched on this, is population control. It's not about anything else. 300 and what are we at? 340 million Americans,
Something like that. Might
Something
be
like that.
might be
Might be
370.
less. Might be a little less because they just did the census not too long ago. But the number that I always saw was 340 million Americans. Right?
We can go with that.
It's too many fucking people to be one tribe. First of
Yeah.
all, that's the first.
333 technically.
333. Thank you. So 333 million people are Americans, right? That's the first tribe that you're part of. The next tribe that you're a part of is your region, the Northeast, the South, the Midwest, the West, right? And then you break that down, you're in a tribe of states, right? I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm from New York. I'm from New
You're gonna say it like that.
In Pennsylvania.
No,
Pencil
we don't
tucky.
hear it. We don't
Sure?
hear it. We don't hear it because we're in a city. But if you step outside,
But they don't have that accent. That's what we're saying.
Oh, okay.
That's Pennsylvania. That is
Yeah.
right on the southern southwest border of the state.
Which is when you walk outside of Philadelphia, which is like, yo, I'm quickly reminded every time I step outside of Philadelphia how much of a fucking country environment Pennsylvania is, and you forget about
One
that.
thing, if the purge happens, I'm not leaving Philadelphia, because outside in Pennsylvania, I refuse. I refuse to be purged by the Amish. I refuse.
You're not just gonna hide in the cornfield. That always works out, right?
Didn't we just cover Lovecraft? Do we need to go wide? No.
And then,
But like on top of population control, like I said, it opens up a whole new lane of commerce. You have people in the series, they touch on somebody opened up a purge like carnival where like you get to purge people like it's carnival games. And then some other person created almost like a ninja warrior, but with purging. Like, all right, if you can make it to the end of the block without getting killed, you get a new car. And people are watching it at home because this is now part of the culture.
it's part of the entertainment. It's part of it's interesting how everything becomes a part of this. The series does a really good job of like delving deeper into some of the ideas behind the purge. Like one of the things that I always thought was really interesting was people wearing masks while they purge, is because you don't want to be identified. You don't want to be.
You realize you have to look at your neighbors. When you didn't.
Afterwards.
I almost got you, Jimmy. Almost got you. Anyway, I'll see you next year.
Well, that's what happens in the first Purge movie. The woman finds out at the very end that her neighbors have wanted to purge her. And then she's stuck with, do I purge them back now that I have the upper hand? No, I'm a human with morals, so I'm going to let them go. But I can't live here anymore. Why? Because how am I going to do carpool now? Little Jimmy's going to have to walk to work. Can't do it.
It's like that's the same mentality as like what was it, Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah,
it's the same idea. It's, you know, we all agree, we're all consenting here, we're all in this, but we want a degree of separation from our normal lives. And so wearing a mask during a purge, I can totally see that, because now you're just in full avatar mode. It's the same Teflon you get from just mouthing off on the internet. When you've got your identity, you think secure, and it's only if you really piss somebody off that they're going to bother to find out who you are. So it gives you this subconscious
anonymity.
Teflon, that you think you could just do whatever and there's no consequence, especially when you have your politicians and, you know, your Illuminati telling you that no, you're fine. You're totally fine. Whatever you do within this time period and this time period, you are absolved. And you go, I'm absolved of my sins. Thank you. And then you do whatever you want and you think it's all going to be good. And yeah, didn't they say part of the reason that the crime rate is down is because people get it out of their system?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They get it out of their system this one night of the year, and then crime is ridiculously, it doesn't exist to the point where murder hasn't existed for like something. Well,
quote unquote hasn't existed.
Right.
Then of course we find out that much like our world now,
the
government has been extremely cooking the books and falsifying documents.
Isn't that the thought process behind Hot Fuzz?
Hot Fuzz?
Hot Fuzz.
The movie Hot Fuzz.
Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg, is like the top cop in London, and he gets reassigned to like the burbs. They send him to this little hamlet out in the middle of nowhere that has like not had a murder in like 75 years. But then when he gets there, he starts looking through like the police records and stuff, and he realizes that they're also the highest suicide rate in the world because they classify everything as a suicide.
I don't trust any place that says, "Oh, there's no crime here, there's no murders." I was like, "You all have bodies in your freezer, don't you? You can just admit it."
And they go, "They're not in the freezer." Oh, damn it! They got me again.
Come on,
all
Jerry.
Right.
In the fourth movie, what I thought was interesting is like Bria said, they're paying people to participate in this purge, right? Like if you stay and you participate, you'll get $5,000, which is a lot of money when you're struggling.
Yeah.
And what I thought was interesting in the movie is that they instead of like running around and killing each other, what people were doing was they were partying.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you saw some vandalism, and yeah, you saw some people that were like.
But what you saw more of was, it is my right to rob you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to kill you, but if I have to, I will.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person was like, "You're right. I'll leave. You can have all my stuff."
Yep.
Which is what a normal person would do. I'd be like, "All right, you got it. I'll steal somebody else's stuff."
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Bye.
So we talked a little bit about let's look at this like realistically. Do we think this is something that could happen?
Yes.
And Nick is like, yes. Okay. Why?
All right. Because everything you just laid out is people in power, whether it's politicians or just people with money, which is power. And they're incentivizing you against your better judgment. And they're taking advantage of the fact that you will do it if, one, you're secure, and two, it's a big enough payday. And whatever a big enough payday is, your personal tipping point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you will be tempted to and possibly do something amoral if the incentives and the protections are there. Because we can put ourselves in a mindset. I do it all the time, where I have to do what I have to do now. I have to do this. I may not like it, but I have to do it. I have no choice. It is beyond me. Like, I can slip into that in a moment's notice, and I have to catch myself doing it. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I have to do right now. No, it's not. There's always a choice, but it's not readily apparent. And if you put enough pressure on, especially like the disadvantaged in this universe, you put enough pressure on them and then give them a carrot, they're going to jump at the carrot. That's, not everybody, but enough where you can have the desired effect, which is that kind of thing becomes law. Now, they're using it as a metaphor, but we're not that far off now. How many people right now are incentivized to take away their own voting rights? They're incentivized by lies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want us to stay in power because we're you. We're just like you. Now I'm going to go to my mansion and you go back to your trailer, and I'm making wide sweeping.
Okay, so you're talking
analogies.
about the idea. You're talking about the idea that people vote against their own best interest.
They make decisions against their own best interest because the incentive is there to do so. And people say enough things that you can in your brain justify it, and then you do it.
I got you. And that aspect of it, I see.
Mhm.
Interesting to me. One of the things that's interesting to me about this whole, like we were talking about the whole idea of eat the rich, right?
Mhm.
Everybody says that, but everybody secretly wants to be rich.
Do
Everybody
they?
wants to be a millionaire.
Do they?
Now, and
I feel
and
like the average American, at least, just wants to be comfortable.
Mhm.
I feel
Yeah,
like the
but
average
what does comfort look like
to be able to pay their bills,
Mhm.
to be able to have enough in savings to retire at the age of 65, to have enough to buy groceries, and to take at least one vacation a year. And I think that when they did the median for that, that was what, 80,000?
70.
70.
And
70,000?
that's exactly what I was just looking up. Was I forget the guy's name, the CEO that embraced that concept and started paying all his employees
Ford.
70 grand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, he's like in Seattle or something. I forget his name. I'll have to look it up. But he embraced that idea, 70K. And the other important thing about that is not only can you pay your bills and all of that stuff, but you can also start planning for retirement at not a crazy clip, but at a reasonable clip. So what that number in our country now, and that actually might be a little dated. It might be like 75 now, just with inflation and whatnot. But
we can give 80 just as a round.
Yeah,
number.
sure. Say 80. That's the number where comfort, if you're going to quantify comfort, that's what comfort is. And it's not, and I know a lot of people that would take that. And I do know some people, not as many, that if they did hit the lottery tomorrow, it's not all going in their pocket.
Yeah.
They're not blowing it on crazy shit. And, that's not everybody. There are some people that, what was it? The hookers and cocaine guy on the news, which still is one of my favorite memes ever.
What'd you spend it on? Hookers and cocaine.
Yeah, and the reporter's like, okay, we're going to move on now.
Yeah, but this idea of eat the rich.
Yep.
I feel like,
Mhm.
and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of people that would just give into their baser instincts as soon as they get that money.
Mhm.
Nobody thinks, oh, I'm going to take, let's say that you hand everybody $1 million, right?
Okay.
How many people are going to say, okay, I'm going to take 900,000 of this and put it in the bank, and I'm going to take 100,000 and I'm going to live comfortably? No, nobody does. Very few people would be willing.
Well,
more than you think. I'm in that boat. I don't know statistically what that would be, but more than you think, I think.
but I think that also we need to recognize that when people say eat the rich, they're not imagining eat the people that live in Jersey that have a white picket fence, a house, and 2 cars. They're thinking of the millionaires that send cars into space while people have no food because we're in a pandemic. Like,
or just in general.
Yeah. Right. Like, that's the rich that people are talking about. I don't think that I won't say anyone. I feel like of course, there's always going to be people that are resentful of those that are doing quote unquote better than they are. Yeah. But for the average person, when they think of eating the rich, that is who they're talking about. Case in point, the discussion about let them eat cake.
Yeah.
Do you know where that came from, or where the legend of that came from?
Yeah.
Ramon?
Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, but do you understand under what context that was?
Like why she said that?
Yeah. No,
the French were dying of starvation.
And Marie Antoinette was in a meeting essentially, and they said
allegedly.
By every account I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The conversation was, she goes, how can they be starving while she's probably eating, right?
Yeah.
How can they all be starving? What do they have in abundance? And they said they have flour. And she said, let them eat cake, because they can make cake out of flour and basically nothing else. Yeah. And so, if they have resources, they should be fine. They should be able to figure it out, was the whole thing. And it's that kind of disconnect that sends people over the edge. And it's that kind of, that level of they'll be fine in the face of everyone yelling. Yes. Yeah. But everyone yelling, They're not fine. They're not okay. They need you. That's all right, I'll say it.
But that is where the purge and the guillotine happens. It's when you've become so dissociated from what the actual world is going through that you say, if I'm fine and if I was able to make it, you should be able to make it. This is a you problem, not an us problem. And then you get guillotined.
It's the bootstraps. You know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can do it. I did it. I made it with a modest loan of $1 million, you know, like from my father, you know, or whatever. It's that kind of sentiment that I think adds the cannibalism to it. I think it's that kind of thing. But I think the mentality in a realistic sense, because I think you were getting at this question, Ramon, was, would I eat a person that happened to have a lot of money?
How hungry am I?
Yes, true.
Because that idea of eating the rich came from when the poor are starving.
Yeah.
They will eat the rich.
Well, it also came from the potato famine, and Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal, which was
cannibalism.
It was cannibalism, and it was a way to beat the potato famine. It was eating. I want to say it was eating the poor. Yeah, it was eating the poor was his solution, and it was complete satire. Yeah. It was meant to call attention to the plight of the Irish people, and he published it in every British newspaper, basically saying this is the only solution that's left if you keep going in this way and you don't help. And that it was basically a satirical ask for help, but his solution was, well, there seems to be a lot of poor people with no food, so eat them. The problem fixes itself. Eat the rich is way different and really what it's asking for is like austerity measures. It's saying we need to even this playing field a little bit.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, actually, if one of us were to eat Jeff Bezos, right, then we can redistribute his wealth and cure hunger.
Would we get the wealth? That's the thing. If we've gotten to the point where we're cannibalizing, and that's like a known fact, somebody in the group's a lawyer and can figure it out.
No, I feel like at that point, if we're like reduced to cannibalism, just let them have the money. If I'm the president, let them have the money. They wanted it. Clearly, they wanted it more than anyone else did. They ate him.
Sir, there's an angry mob to see you. Do they have an appointment? Yes. I called ahead.
I made reservations. Man, this isn't a restaurant. Not when I'm done.
What's really interesting, and I did a little bit of research before we had this topic. Mm-hmm. We came pretty close during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
To cannibalism?
No. We came pretty close to this idea of purging.
Yep.
All the protests that we saw, all of the rioting that we saw, all of the
government buildings being taken over, state and federal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Because
the
average
thought that those footages were from a new Purge movie.
Mm-hmm.
No lie, when it first came across my desk.
Oh yeah, I thought I was watching. Like, listen, when January 6th went down, I thought I was watching either a movie or I was watching a third world country that was being invaded.
Did you see the BBC coverage of it that made it look like it was a collapsing government in somewhere else, not here?
Wow.
No, they covered it exactly the same way. And it was amazing. It was, just a British guy like, and we're here with the insurgency. Like, and people just running like crazy with like American flags all around. And I was like, this is exactly how they shoot. Like some of the footage in Cuba that we saw recently. Yeah. In the same footage as Hong Kong.
Okay,
like,
so
just the recent ones.
I think we're having two different conversations.
Are we?
I think part of what you guys are talking about is a conversation about a revolution, which is very much needed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, you never asked me if I thought that it was going to happen.
Oh, okay. Well,
because I'm about to touch on what you're about to say.
Okay. And the difference between a revolution and the idea behind the Purge, which is this one night where everything is legal. And that's where I like.
You don't think it goes as far as
a reoccurring event?
No, I don't think it's going to go as far as a reoccurring event. I don't think you can have a realistic purge. Like, okay, so I'm in the middle of murdering somebody, and the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. Right?
Oh,
it's
I better hurry up.
right, exactly. So I shoot, or I have a room of people, and I start shooting at 6:59.
There's a reasonable chance you're getting away with it. Reasonable chance.
No, because according to the series, they have a cyber division of, well, not the FBI. They're kind of like a separate agency that specifically monitors all cameras in the United States of America on Purge night. So at 7:01, when that, you have to stop all this shit. If you are caught doing a crime at 7:01, the police are there in split second.
Wow.
You are being rounded.
Which is bullshit. That's the idea. That's the part that to me is fake.
Because the other part of the Purge is that all emergency services, including cops,
are suspended, right?
Are suspended. So what are the cops doing if not waiting until 7:01? Because that's when they would make their bonuses. If you keep the idea of like cops getting bonuses and making bonuses and quotas and such, that would be the only day out of the year that they really have to round people up. How else are they going to keep the prison pipeline going? Because they're not going to get rid of that. That's too much of a moneymaker. So they round these people up. They are in jail for the rest of the year, and then on Purge night, they are executed. Well, we find out that they're actually sold to rich people to be executed. So yeah, the cops are going to be out in full effect.
No,
for the poor people.
But I'm talking about. Okay, so yeah, the series does a better job of the movie than the movies does of clearing up
some questions.
But what I'm saying is there's no ballistics test that can prove that I shot him at 6:59 or
7:01
or 7:01.
You'd have to be in a dead zone.
Yeah.
Because if you're caught on camera, on any camera, because remember they were able to hack into cell phones, they were able to you really think that there's that's why when they go, oh, these crimes happen and we don't know what happened, I'm like, that's bullshit. Y'all have been listening to the Skype call the entire time.
I feel sorry for the person.
Time, and you're trying to tell me you couldn't find a street camera that caught little Timmy eating his cousin? You caught that on candid camera. You just can't legally prove he was caught on candid camera.
Right.
You know who did it.
Not to mention, and they touch on it in one of the movies, but not to mention that insurance would be fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
Would they have to pay out for anything that happened during the Purge? I would assume
they would have Purge insurance.
Oh, well, then they make money on it. They don't care.
Yeah, well, everything in this world is designed to generate wealth for the wealthy.
Right. Which we're seeing now. I mean, and that's why when you say could someone with influence make something like the Purge happen? Yes, they get us to go against our better judgment. Could it go the other way, and the mob snaps, and we just go? I think that's where you get which side tips first is really where it is.
So the last movie that most recently came out is about the people who have decided that they no longer want just one night of purge. They want 365 days of purging.
That gets tiring.
Well, when I forget if they like go through the psychological effects of the purge and being desensitized to extreme acts of violence. I think they cover that in the movie. But everyone's been kind of psychologically programmed to crave this. right? It becomes addictive. It becomes almost it starts releasing dopamine in our system because we've gotten so used to it, and it's become societally okay.
Yep.
So people are now craving that dopamine that they only get once a year.
Yep.
So everyone snaps. And then the issue becomes, right? So the founding fathers have lost control over the purge. They have to send in the military. But then how do you fight the purge without giving them the purge? Like, so people that don't want the purge, like let's say you, me, and Ramon were in the same room right now. And Ramon goes, I want to purge. And he just starts purging. If we fight him back, we are now becoming a part of the purge.
Of Ramon's purge,
no, because I would assume self-defense laws would still be in effect. And if Ramon decided, I want to purge, and we're like, it's Christmas. And he was like, no, it's purge. And we had to defend ourselves. I think, I hope we get out of that one.
But if the whole
you guys are dead.
But if the whole block is purging, right? When the military shows up, how can they determine who's purging and who's defending themselves?
Oh, they don't.
Can't.
Right.
So fighting the purgers, it's like you're just fighting everyone. Everyone's fighting everyone.
Yeah,
and then if your military man in arms decides to randomly purge you, now it's just mayhem. So Americans decide, who are no longer here for the purge, they decide to immigrate to Mexico
and Canada.
They seek asylum.
Yeah, they which I thought was a really interesting touch to the movies, by opening up the book. So the Mexican president and the Canadian president agree that because this purge is now extending past purge time, that they will grant anybody who can make it to their borders asylum within like 72 hours or something like that. So then it becomes a mad dash to get to the border and to find somewhere that's safe. And it's interesting because there's another they're not done with this series. You know what I mean? Like these movies have made them way too much money.
Sure.
So the talk of the next one is that they're going to try to make it worldwide. They're going to go into the politics of the purge, which is interesting. Yeah.
No, it
because
is.
One of the other interesting parts that they touch on in the series is that because of the purge, right? And anyone who is in America, right? That being the key word, anyone that's in America at the time of the purge can purge. We now have purge tourism. So now your impoverished nations that need tourism are like, well, we could purge and then our tourism rates would go up.
We'll dip our toes in the water and see how the purge kind of goes, see how it feels.
But like when you're talking to a country whose citizens are barely able to feed themselves.
Back to my point. Yep.
Would they really be upset? Not really upset, but how do you really think that wouldn't go over well, especially if America is already a superpower and it's proven that this system exists? I don't think. Okay, so to answer the question that nobody asked me.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. No, I'm asking you now.
Do I think that it could happen? I would like to say no. As far as a reoccurring
We'd all like to
cycle.
say no.
Yeah. As a reoccurring cycle, I would like to think that we are all logical enough to say this is a bad idea. Do I think that there is a particular demographic that could be convinced to purge? Yes. Do I think that it is the impoverished people? No.
Yeah.
No.
I could see the 1% or those that believe that they are akin to the 1% purging before any impoverished people do.
Well, good. We got them outnumbered, so that's going to play into our favor.
But do we have them out armed? And that's what they discuss in the purge as well.
And that's exactly what I was going to say is, yes, the people that showed up to the Capitol with their $1,500 guns, and
they're guillotine, they're gallows.
And also staying at the hotel down the street, paying DC prices, could take a week off of work to go and, maybe overthrow a government or whatever.
Something light on a Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. These are, they got tapas before they went to the rally. It's like that's exactly who would embrace it and would go, and I'll survive it. That's exactly who's going to drive it. But how many other folks that are maybe not as well off are like, well, I mean, if somebody comes by, and I've got this baseball bat.
Well, not even if you defend yourself, right?
Yeah.
That still counts towards the purge numbers.
Sure.
So if freaking Johnny Benson comes down here with his Chad mobile and what have you, and decides to shoot up the block, and the block decides to shoot back, it doesn't matter to the government because that's still purge numbers.
Right. So you're saying you just need a percentage to get the ball rolling, and then it's a full-on purge.
Yeah, I guess. It only takes one.
You know what? Now that I think about it, if that's the case, if that's what we're talking about, then we've had a mini purge on January 6th.
Yeah, a little.
Well, I think we're thinking more like Black Wall Street and situations like that. If you want to go mini purge.
Yeah,
the
where
Tulsa massacre.
Everything you do is legal now. Go. It doesn't matter what you do today, and we've had that before.
Well, some would say that the police department has been purging 24 hours a day, 365.
Exactly.
They were enacted
because they're working with impunity. Yeah. Yep. So it's not the same time frame. It's not the same. Everybody on your mark.
Do as you will.
So maybe I'm thinking, okay, so my problem is I was thinking entirely too literal.
Oh, well, you were thinking, do we think that the American public would vote for a day where crime would be completely legal?
Yeah. And I was thinking about the logistics.
Small percent of write-ins.
I was thinking about like the logistics of carrying that out, but now that I've had this conversation with y'all, conversations. That's what we're about at the Garbled podcast.
Oh my God.
Change the conversation. Well, hopefully we don't change anything because
let's not. Oh Christ.
No, no. What we're doing is
do I send this episode directly to the Smithsonian now?
Let's say the FBI agent that's listening to this call is going through it.
Guys, I'm gonna need a supervisor. What the heck?
But yeah, I mean, it sounds to me that we've had like purge like events. We clearly have throughout our history.
Right. Would we take it coast to coast all at the same time is maybe the stretch.
Make it a holiday.
But it's not something that, again, the right incentives, the right words in the right people's ears, and the right flashpoint, and you can have this. To be honest, I think that might be why they put the kid gloves on January 6th. Like, besides just the general racist undertones of that whole incident. Yeah.
I think that one of their fears was beginning, because once that shootout starts, that kind of legitimizes an incident. And I feel like that might be one of the things that they were trying to avoid.
I don't think they thought that far ahead. I don't.
I would like to think that someone did.
Trump knew what he wanted to do, and he ordered the National Guard away. Just to let it happen as violently as possible. But yeah, if the building had burned, he would have been fine. He would have been like, okay.
But let me bring up another point. Like one of the deterrents for this purge, if you will, and if we want to talk about January 6th being a purge-like event, is the punishment that comes with it, and the fact that you have people who are now receiving it was all over the news a week ago that one of these guys got less than 6 months.
Yep.
Less than 6 fucking months for treason.
For sedition.
Sedition. Yeah. No, let's call it what the fuck it was. Treason.
What do you mean? Just because they wanted to overthrow the government, that doesn't mean it's
Something
treason.
like-
Come on, Ramon.
Like
There are degrees
Sedition.
to this.
fine. Sedition.
We were all going to be
Sedition.
Americans afterwards. We just
Well,
wanted
New
to be our
America.
would have been
America.
Trump's America. Oh.
Yeah, you know, the right America.
You had it right the first time.
It's the entire thing just bugs the hell out of me. Did I tell you how I heard about January 6th?
No.
It was like that night after I clocked out of work, and when I have absolutely no idea what's going on in the outside world, I am just work, you know what I mean, until I clock out. And that was like, 10, 11 hours of my day is just, I was just going through, working on the computer as fast as I can for that much time. And so I just unplug and I look and I see somebody, one of my friends, Allison, friend of the show. She had texted, the Trump people tried to take the Capitol, and I started laughing hysterically because, one, I knew she was serious, and two, I was like, I just want to see the body count. I can only imagine, like, do you remember what was it, The Boys, when Homelander, thank you. When Homelander just loses his shit and he burns the entire rioting crowd down with his eyes. I was like, that's the guards with the miniguns that I'm sure they set up to defend the Capitol because they said they were going to do this. And no, none of that. It's insane to me. If anything had been flipped, if anything on that crowd had been flipped, just huge body count. And
you sure as fuck wasn't going to see my ass at that. Because I would have got shot.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if it wasn't that demographic,
been able to get on the sub that day. Like they would have stationed cops and federal agents at every stop on every public transportation system.
They did a better job,
like the Pope. And
they did a better job of defending Area 51 against that raid.
They think they did. But that whole thing, the thing that the media will not tell you, but I'm going to break it here right now. They all Naruto run right past those guards and got all the secrets. Nobody tells that story.
But they did a better job of defending Area 51 against the Naruto runners.
Yeah.
Not the Naruto. Not the Naruto.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't watch that anime, okay? But he did a better job than they did of protecting the goddamn Capitol.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And that's why I'm saying I don't think it was kid gloves to worry about, like, starting the Civil War with that day. I don't think it was that at all.
The Capitol, they do a better job of protecting Beyonce. You ever seen Beyonce walk somewhere? No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You don't.
See a lot of people in suits.
Yeah. Could you imagine knocking on Beyonce's door? Beyonce doesn't even live on Earth. Beyonce actually lives on the moon.
Yeah, but Beyonce is one of the rich ones that we would have to eat. Take that, Beehive.
I'm not co-signing that because I don't want my address and social security number out there. Beehive, I support you. We would never lay one hand on her.
We aren't talking about you. We aren't talking about you, Beyonce.
Yeah. That was Ramon La Bestia. That's L.A.
that's L.A. and so on.
No, but you talk about like 1%. Yeah, Beyonce's in that. She's in that mix.
So I do like somebody on TikTok. It's my social media go-to. That's
where I get my news.
Exactly. Shout out to Pocket Report and under the desk news, which I love. Anyway. The one person on TikTok I did see go, okay, look, we're not supporting cannibalism when we say eat the rich. What we're saying is one. We just need to eat one. And it'll send the message.
I'm telling you, if you just eat one Bezos,
Yep.
and like maybe half a Musk,
Just an arm.
maybe just half.
I like
Just so
Elon.
that way, you can
Elon.
establish
Why?
it's a pattern.
Why do you
Elon-
like Elon?
Elon has done more to further space exploration in the last 10 years than NASA has managed to do in the last 40.
Ramon, do you have universal health care?
No, I don't.
Do you have universal basic income?
No, I don't.
Does he have a car that's on the moon?
No, he missed.
Oh,
He
I'm
was-
sorry.
He was
I'm
shooting
sorry.
for Mars
he's
and he
shooting
missed.
for
mediocre.
Mars and missed.
So he's mediocre. Does he have a car that went to space?
He does. He
No,
does have
but he
some
has a car that I
additional
want.
trash
I
in
want a
space, yes.
Tesla. I want a Tesla.
I repeat, does he have a car that went to space, Nick?
There's a car in space that was his. Yes,
Yes,
his personal car.
yes. Therefore, you need to eat at least one of his fingers.
Okay. All right.
least
You know what? You know
And
what?
then I feel like once we start doing that and we establish it's a pattern,
And this is the moment.
Yeah. When Musk says,
I couldn't let him on the show.
yeah. This is when Musk comes on in the fourth window. Guys, I've been listening.
do you know what's hilarious?
Want
When
you to
I
know.
said that, my whole screen froze, and I was
So
like,
did
"Oh,
mine.
here we go."
Yeah, my mic cut out for a second. Your screen froze.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that was an accident, folks.
Right.
They're out there. They're listening.
It's Starlink.
Anonymous is just gonna pop up and be like, "Well, actually,
Yeah.
we've
Hey
been
guys.
planning this for a couple of years. if
Thanks
you
for
want
not making
part."
this chat private. Just wanted to say. Yeah. You know what? Ceremonially, one finger. I think Musk would do it. I agree with you guys. Eat the rich. Here's my
Just one
pinky.
finger. You're like, "All
Takes
right."
it off. Hands it to somebody.
Plus, you know what? Plus, I think he's smarter than Bezos. And I'm not saying that Bezos is not smart. I'm not saying that he's not. Like, he's very business savvy. I think Elon is a deep thinker.
I think Elon and I think he gets off on being the good guy, but he's still manipulating the market to win.
Oh no, fuck him for Bitcoin.
Dogecoin. Douchecoin.
Huge coin.
It's Dogecoin.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, no. He that and I mean just the market manipulation of his own stock prices, all of it. But he does invest in the things where he sees one, the biggest return on his own investment, and two, where it can help the most people. And that is the part that makes him a little bit zealotous.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I don't even know if he knows what disingenuous is or genuine is anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's the niche he has carved out. So, yeah, he's of the evils. Yes, he is not the most evil. You are correct. I agree with that sentiment. But
You know who I'm
old.
protecting? Who's my
Who?
guy from John Wick?
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, I'm protecting Keanu Reeves. when we
Oh, in a
see
Purge.
Rich. Yeah.
No, he is John Wick
Keanu
at
Reeves
this
is
point.
protecting himself.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is going to be fine. He does all his own stunts. He does all his own stunts.
I don't know. Have you seen how scrappy
Have you seen
some of these homeless people can be? They're kind of scrappy. They're
Keanu Reeves-
they're a little scrappy. I don't know.
Keanu Reeves has put out videos on how he's done all of the shit.
But have you
from
seen
John
a
Wick.
crackhead fight? Like, I don't know.
No, but I can imagine a crackhead getting shot.
Yeah. Also, yeah, John Wick, like barehanded, or John Wick, like John Wick kitted out.
Like, how are we playing this?
How are we playing
I'm
this?
still putting my
And
money on
also, I
fucking
don't
John Wick
I
barehanded.
also don't think that Keanu Reeves would fight. I think that he'd be like, you know what?
Keanu
This
Reeves.
is a lot, guys.
Keanu Reeves is to John Wick as Ryan Reynolds is to Deadpool. Keanu Reeves is always in a John Wick headspace. Everything else is acting.
He's always seemed everything that I've read about him, like all the articles and interviews. He's always seemed mad, down to earth,
Oh Lord.
and I feel like, what are you saying? Oh Lord, you're rooting for Elon Musk.
Yeah, and by the way,
I
Bruce
can't
Wayne. He's
Yeah.
just he's a philanthropist and he's a party
I
guy.
just love how you guys look at me for protecting Keanu Reeves, but Ramon is going to die on the Elon Musk hill. Like,
No.
come on.
I just like the idea of you going, don't worry, Keanu Reeves, I've
I
got
got
this.
you.
And then he just
I
like
feel like he would
he
appreciate
like
me so much.
somersaults over you, takes out 6 people.
No, Bria, you don't worry.
Thank you so much, Bria,
Whoa.
for having my back.
And he goes, I'll save you, and then just like throws you 3 stories up onto a roof.
My millionaire is doing. What's Elon gonna do? Cry.
Oh, Elon, no, Elon's
He's
gonna
gonna
run.
cry.
Yeah.
You're gonna be busy trying to protect him.
Oh, you're
He's
going
like-
to purge me?
Okay.
I have a spaceship.
Thank you, Darky.
This
He's
this
gonna
brings
run.
me up to the point that I kind of touched on a little bit earlier. Most fucking people are dead. Most
What,
people
in the Purge?
in a purge, yeah,
Oh.
you're dead.
Oh, sure.
You
Oh,
are
I have a
absolutely
line of people
dead.
that are
Mhm.
ready to just kill me, like just scrap. Like that's the real question. During the purge, how many people do you think you're on their hit list?
Ooh.
Can they find me while I'm tracking down my hit list? That's the thing, because they don't know my hit list. I'm a moving target in a purge.
But like everyone thinks like, ooh, I would kill this. that,
Oh
and the
yeah,
third.
no,
I'm
I
like,
wouldn't make it through the
but
night.
how many people are you on their hit list? Because
Mhm.
I can think of about 30 people just offhand that if given the
Oh, I
opportunity,
mean, we're making lists. If we're making lists,
I could see myself waking up to a nice full deck of cards.
and that's the
I
other
have a
thing.
full dance card.
That's the other thing that I kind of pointed to when I was thinking about how realistic it was the idea of, you know, how many people's bosses would be dead the next day.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
A
Like
great day for
every
growth.
year.
In corporate America.
Oh, right.
Such a great day for growth.
You're just walking around the day before the purge, handing out applications. Like, okay, guys, you know, I'm just saying, I want to get ahead of this admin. If you're looking for promotion, we might have some openings soon.
HR is
everyone
working
just Fill
overtime.
out your transfer forms.
Yeah. Just pre-fill it. Think. You
And
know what?
remember,
Think
if you
positively.
purge me, it'll be a 2-week delay on everyone getting paid because I'm the one that processes payroll. Just remember that.
Pre-purge Hallmark cards. Like,
Yes.
hey, please forgive me this purge cycle. Hallmark suddenly their stock just quadrupled.
Yeah,
my
because
God.
we
funeral
mentioned them.
homes.
Well, no, because if the purge happens,
No,
They-
damn it!
they-
It's because we mentioned them.
oh right, yes, because the power of Yeah.
The Garbled podcast.
the Garbled podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm a hopeful maybe I survive. Bria, you think you're out, right? You think you're done?
I'm leaving.
You're
or
running. Okay, you're
I'm
you're
like
leaving the country.
Severe bunkering
Okay,
and doing cyber crimes.
very nice.
I'm getting like a team of hackers.
That's good. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like it. That suits your hat.
Yeah. Thank you.
Friendships. I think at that point, friendships become about skill sets and what you
Ooh.
have to offer.
First of all, you're still having friends. I'm not having any friends. Because the one day that you're friends with someone and you accidentally offend them, and then they just snap and purge you because y'all purged together.
That's one thing I did think
Like-
about.
No, I'm good.
That's one thing I did think about. Like, you know, there's this town in Texas, right? And it wouldn't be in Texas. There's a town in Texas. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but there's a town in Texas where everybody carries a firearm.
Mhm.
It's an open carry. And guess what? Everybody there is polite as fuck.
I
They
bet.
are super polite.
Yeah.
Like you didn't say thank you.
Like every old West movie I've ever seen. Howdy, ma'am. Howdy, sir.
right. I see that's possibly the one good thing that will come out of the purge is that everybody will like, okay, I'm not getting purged this
I'm not getting put on their list. I'm not getting put on.
You just
How would
get
it change
baskets
customer service?
all around?
How would
Oh
it
my
change
God,
customer
customer
Everyone
service?
get
service.
baskets.
You call up, you start just having a bad day on the phone with a sales rep, and they're like, let me just verify your address.
Are you seriously pissing me off 2 weeks before the purge?
Yeah.
You're dead.
So what are you going to do about my problem? Oh, I'm sorry. I was checking flights to your town.
I'm going to personally assist you, sir.
Oh, they have surge pricing. Uber. Can you imagine Uber? Purge pricing as opposed to surge pricing.
You
They
know,
did that.
They
They
touched
did that.
on that.
They did that in the series. You know what, Nick? If you don't see the movies, you should definitely check out the series.
It's sounding more and more because everyone at this point knows my aversion to the gore for gore's sake and horror for horror's sake.
It's
So-
really not.
The first movie, like I was talking about, the first movie is very horror just to get you interested in the concept.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start really giving you the mythos behind it. And
So if I skip the first one,
yeah, all you
I
need
should
to
be good.
know is that white people,
You could read a
rich
synopsis.
suburbia,
white people be doing white people shit.
pretty much. Yes, that's literally what
Yeah.
happened.
Then I don't need to see this. I've lived
No.
it.
Just go to the second one where it starts to get more interesting.
Thank
And
you
then
for
if you
owning
wanna
your
circle
privilege,
back-
Nick.
Oh, yeah, constantly and always. It's a privilege to own my privilege.
I will workshop the idea of the purge. I offer you a counterpoint.
Okay.
Okay.
If we were to do a purge, it should be a lottery system where you get to choose one person to fight barehanded for an hour.
I've said this, and it goes back to my idea of the town in Texas.
Like, could you imagine?
If you were constantly under the threat
Mm-hmm.
that someone was going to whoop your ass, your behavior would change. Your behavior, you would be a different person
Mm-hmm.
if you were under the constant threat that somebody would whoop your ass. And I think men do that to one another. Women, not so much. And I can't say, I don't know. Bria, you tune in and chime in on this one.
I
But
feel like the women's issue isn't women against women, although that exists. And I think that they discussed it in the Purge series. One of the biggest issues is men against women.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And if we're being honest,
That's what it would be.
during the Purge,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be men killing other men. It would be men doing what they do already.
With impunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. Yeah, and that's where the cinematography and the concept that gets laid out in a movie script falls apart.
Well-
Is when you hit real life, because yes, there would be statistically far fewer murders than rapes. I mean, absolutely.
That would still unfortunately go unreported.
Well, or
Or
nothing gets
recorded.
Yeah,
Or recorded.
right.
Yeah.
It would be that would be what it would be. It would be nuts.
Yeah.
But how about this? How about instead of a purge, we bring back dueling?
I was just
Ooh.
thinking dueling or like jousting to
Mhm.
make it like give it a little razzle dazzle,
Mhm.
a little entertainment value. Could you imagine if 20 random Americans were selected to joust any American citizen you choose?
Oh, I like the idea of, you and I have an argument. I go, nope, you have gone too far. I challenge you to a duel. You put in the paperwork, so it's like it's legal.
Mhm.
And then
I like that.
If
I
they
like that a
back
lot.
out, they owe you money. Right? And if you back out, you owe them money and an apology or whatever. But then, yeah, it's a sanctioned, legit like fight, like blood sport fight. And you have doctors and everybody there, but you can get injured and maimed and killed if it comes to that. And if they brought that back, you think that would get sold first before the purge? Because then there's no property
Yes.
damage.
Yes, I think absolutely. And again, it goes back to my point of your behavior would change if you were under the constant threat of having your ass whooped.
Yep.
That's what it boils down to.
Bring
when
back
you were a kid-
fisticuffs.
Consequences.
When you were a kid,
Fisticuffs.
you fucked up. You knew that your mom or dad I mean, or maybe it was different in everybody else's household, but I knew if I messed up, my mom or my dad, and I would hope it was my mom that beat me. No, let me change.
Yeah, I know your mom. Change your mind real quick.
Yeah.
I would hope it was my dad that beat me because my dad would never like, you know.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not promoting the idea of beating your children, folks. Don't. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
the understanding of consequences for your actions.
Exactly.
Equal
Because fighting.
consequence for your actions, because most people will say, well, we have laws for that, but unfortunately the laws aren't the same for everyone. Everyone is not playing by the same rules.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's part of the appeal of the purge, is that everyone, quote unquote, is playing by the same rules.
Right. Because fighting, you know what fighting is? It's high stakes problem
Gambling.
solving.
Oh.
It's
not
high stakes.
Not the way I do it. I am playing checkers, sir.
You're playing checkers. I'm playing Uno.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of reverses.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, if we just had a good old fashioned jousting, or like the Coliseum,
I challenge you to fisticuffs.
Yeah.
that would be amazing. Forget the Olympics. I get to see people joust for whatever stupid reason. Yeah.
Or a shootout.
And let's hear it for Jimmy.
A good old pistol
No,
shootout.
because pistol shootouts, that happens too fast. Jousting, we get the theatrics of the horse.
Oh, you don't like the tension of the 10 paces?
Nah. I need the horse. I need to see them saddle up. I need to see them look at each other while they're putting on their armory.
No, you're giving a person too much time to back out. I think
they can't, because it's a lottery.
I think
issued by the government.
Okay.
That's
so
what I'm saying.
you're Hunger Games jousting?
Yes, it's a lottery issued by the government where you get to choose, like, oh, Bria, not putting in my last name.
Yeah.
You get to choose one American to joust. Have at it. And I'd be like, Nick, ride them.
Do y'all remember that the play The Lottery?
Yes.
I feel like yes.
That's where every year they would choose one person to sacrifice.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And it's like that. Oh my God. You know, say what you want to say about the extreme consequence, but if that was a thing, like I said, I think people's behavior would completely change. We would be nicer to one another. We would actually be, you would see the better side of humanity if there were real consequences. Does anybody remember that episode of Star Trek where if you stepped on the grass, they executed you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yep. Like that.
They did one on the Orville.
Okay.
Where it was essentially a social media planet. There were no judges. There was no legal system. It was, if you did something and you got enough down votes on this one government app, you were arrested. And if it was even more and more, and it dropped below 49%, right, on a world stage, you were executed.
Wow.
Yeah. So instead of going to prison, what they would do is they would take you on a media tour, and you would try and plead your case to get some upvotes to keep you above 49%.
Wow.
It was
It's
crazy.
A cool idea.
Yeah, that was I actually like the Orville. I got to find that again.
Okay.
Well, the Purge also touches on social media. So they have a news correspondence, and they bring in both sides of the argument, pro-Purge, anti-Purge, and how they track the success of their news show is how many death threats they receive. Because according to Purge culture, you're not anyone until someone wants to purge you.
Oh, that's how you market. Oh, that's marketing.
Yep. So someone created an app that monitors all death threats, and once you reach a certain amount, that's your follower count.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of commentary in these movies. I might actually have to check this out.
Yeah, yeah. Once you get past the first one, and this is what some
The
critics
first
said
one was
about
the
the
slowest.
last one. About the last one was that there wasn't as much Purge centered. Like it was more around the idea of the Purge.
Mhm.
The Purge had become almost like a character in and of itself.
Right.
So the further you go in the movies, the less of just gratuitous violence. Like there's still some of it to keep it a little interesting,
Mhm.
but it's less gratuitous and more satirical almost.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the whole thing is, so that makes
Yeah.
but the tone is different. Yeah.
Whoever is producing it, I hope that it's the same producer because they have a very nuanced approach to storytelling that I like.
Yeah.
Nice. It's good world building.
Very good.
All right. How do we put a bow on this?
I think we don't. I think we leave it as an open concept.
Question around the table.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your Purge mask going to be?
Oh,
that's a
There
good
we
one.
go.
That's how we end it.
Okay.
That's a good one.
okay. I'm going hockey mask.
Oh, Jason. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
want to
modern one. Modern
Keeping
one.
it traditional.
Modern one. Good visibility with enough head and neck and face protection. I think that's good.
Not hatred, heritage.
There's that marketing.
Yeah, put the positive spin on that. on the headgear I chose to go out and commit horrible acts. All right, what's yours?
I'm doing Avatar Kyoshi makeup.
Oh, that's
I'm
smart.
going straight Kyoshi warrior.
Make sure you get it where it doesn't run if you start sweating, because that could be gone in like an hour.
But I was also thinking of the mask. I was like, if I get hit in the face, that could like impact on my breathing.
It could shift and you lose visibility for a second. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So I'm doing Avatar Kyoshi makeup.
I like it. Ramon's like, yeah, I'm
Motorcycle
going.
helmet.
What are you going? Fury Road? Mad Max?
No. Motorcycle helmet. Because one of the things I always thought was stupid was like you're wearing this mask, it fucks with your visibility.
Mm-hmm.
That messes with you know what I mean? Like you get hit the wrong way and the mask shifts and now you can't see. But a motorcycle helmet.
But then you can't hear.
I don't need.
Yes, you do.
He's just gonna have the Doors playing in his AirPods the whole time.
So anyone, if the Purge happens,
why did you pick the door?
If the Purge happens,
wait, hold on.
Sneak up behind Ramon. He will never see you coming.
True, but he will never hear us and I will stand by the Doors comment. Ramon, have you seen you listening to the Doors? You're the most focused individual I've ever seen when you're listening to the Doors. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
have you seen Ramon listen to Eminem? Dang it! That should have been the last question. What's your Purge playlist?
Oh, there you go. Those 2 questions. Let's leave them with 2 questions. What, ladies and gentlemen, what mask do you wear on Purge night?
And what is your Purge playlist?
And what is your Purge playlist? Let's try to keep
it. It's not Annie Up. I don't know what to say.
keep it. I think just to be fair, you should keep it to 5 songs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I assume that one's gonna be on Twitter. Yeah, because that is beautiful.
Yeah.
What's your Purge list?
What is your Purge playlist?
Yeah, Purge mask. All right.
Very nice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. The Garbled podcast is back.
Better than ever.
Better than ever. We're going to keep coming at you with some interesting topics. You know how to get a hold of us. You hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to apologize for our abrupt absence, but we're back now. And we're still available on all the streaming services. So reach out and get a hold of us.
And to tease just a little something I'm working on, there may be some additional YouTube content coming soon. So please check that out as well. Like, follow, and share, guys.
Like, follow, and share.
Hit that bell. I'm working
on
it. If you like this episode, then like this episode. If you like this video, then actually like this video. Keep us in your algorithms, coming at you live from the whatever area code you're in.
See, you're doing it better than me. Now my anxiety.
No,
All right.
no, I got you.
Now he's going to purge me. Now he's going to purge me.
Ladies and gentlemen, if
person.
you don't like the podcast, we will purge you. How's that?
If you don't like the episode, keep it to yourself.
Don't tell nobody.
All right, folks. Later.
Wait.
Later.